This is CBS 12 News at 5.
Breaking now at 5, deadly condo collapse.
Can you bring all the cribbing that you can find? Bring it over here.
It looked like something from like 9/11, literally.
An entire section of a building reduced to rubble.
We are bracing for some bad news, just given the destruction that we're seeing.
This is a very sad moment in our community.
Crews searching for survivors and pulling people out alive, including a young boy.
As I got closer, I was able to see his hands sticking through the rubble, waving.
Tonight, the massive destruction and questions about what caused this building breakdown. Breaking now at 5, shock and sadness in Surfside. At least 3 people are dead, dozens more hurt, and 99 unaccounted for after part of an apartment building near Miami Beach came crashing down as people slept. Good evening, everyone. I am Luli Ortiz. Liz has the night off. Witnesses said that it was like a bomb or earthquake that went off. We have live team coverage from the Reunification Center as families frantically search for information. But we begin with CBS 12 News anchor Jim Grimes, who is live at the scene with a desperate search for survivors. Jim.
Yeah, Lily, I was talking to the mayor just a little bit ago. It is safe to say this has been an extremely long day for the people of Surfside, for the fire and rescue crews who have been out here since the wee hours of the morning. They are slowly making progress. What's been holding them back is a fire, and if you look closely, you can see a little bit of smoke coming from a balcony just over my right-hand shoulder here, and that is where they've been pouring water on, trying to keep the smoke down. And the reason is because they're using canines, and searchers have been getting those dogs up into that area, but obviously the smoke is causing them some problems and slowdowns. But right now they are full bore trying to find survivors. We're told that they're hearing voices. That's actually, as distressing as it is, it's a good sign that there are survivors in there. And as you mentioned, the numbers, they continually talk about this 99 people unaccounted for. Many are hoping that many of those people are just out of town, or maybe that number will be a lot lower. So a lot of hope and people just waiting to see what's going to happen. We want to show you some of this video. This is disturbing, just a warning. This is the video showing the collapse of this building. This is right around 1 o'clock in the morning, and you can see the tower just crumbling down, almost like a demolition, a professional demolition. It just shears that eastern side of the building right off, and if you look closely, you'll be able to see some of the bedrooms and homes and balconies, furniture, air conditioners, all hanging from the debris there. Rescue crews, of course, searching through that rubble now, trying to find any survivors. As we mentioned, the mayor of Surfside, he says that there is more than 100 units in that building, and they believe that most of those belong to families, so people with children, kids, family pets, things like that. Governor Ron DeSantis, ironically, visiting today. He was just here 2 weeks ago to sign a bill. It was a happy occasion. Today, a much different scene. He talked to fire and rescue. He was right there with them. He is supporting them, telling them that anything they need is at their disposal. He also thanked those first responders for all of their hard work today. Take a listen.
I just want to give credit to the search and fire department, the first responders, Miami-Dade County. They were on that scene before we knew whether there'd be more collapse. We didn't know whether the building had any structural integrity, and they were shepherding people to safety.
The governor also says the state will be offering any support it can to the families. President Biden also calling the Miami-Dade County mayor, offering any resources, response to the building collapse, anything they can do at a state level. Joining us right now is our Andrew Laughlin. He's been out here throughout the afternoon. And Andrew, it's just been a really emotional scene for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's tragic out here, especially considering 24 hours ago, everything was normal here. Air conditioning units were on the roof. The building was completely intact. People were coming and going. It was just a normal day in South Florida near Miami Beach. But now we have this tragedy. We have about two stories high worth of debris there. Those air conditioning units that were up on the roof, they're now just sitting on top of that debris. I know you caught up with the mayor. We were able to talk to him. He said there's actually a parking garage that's underneath there where the rubble is piled on top of. They're trying to get there, but some of the issues that they're battling is potential flooding down there as well. So you can tell that it's a difficult scene out there. And after a disaster like this, you're going to hear so many stories begin to to come out. We have 99 people still unaccounted for, people waiting for that news to see if their loved one is going to be okay or not. We actually caught up with a nurse earlier who treats people in this building who came, saw the scene, and here's how she reacted.
Family in the building that I know. One of them I take care of, and then the entire rest of the family is in there. I can see there's no more there.
We want to bring in our CBS12 Brian.
So back out here live, again, you can see this pile of rubble here. So they're actually using sonar, some sound detecting technology, and they say they're coming back with some banging, potential signs of life down there. So there is hope that they can find some more survivors out of this rubble here, Jim. And so we're hoping that there is some good news to come out of this. People are hopeful, but obviously cautiously optimistic at the same time.
Yeah, and that's the best thing they can do right now. We also were talking about that optimism. Listen to this. There have been stories of rescues out here. About 35 people, in fact, have been pulled from the wreckage. One of them, a man heard a child's screams, and he was able to get the attention of rescue crews. They were able to dig him out. Take a listen.
On the backside of the building was very quiet, being that most of the commotion and emergency vehicles were on the main street on Collins. So it was quiet. I was able to hear the boy that was pulled from the rubble yelling. As I got closer, I was able to see his hands sticking through the rubble, waving. And as he was yelling, I responded to him, and I began to climb, the debris to try and get to him. I was in flip-flops at the time.
Yeah, fire crews working in teams, actually 4 and 5 at a time, pulling people out of that of the rubble. In all, about 10 people had to actually be treated at the scene, but 35, that's the number we heard, were actually pulled out. And it is stories like that are giving some of these families some hope and inspiration. We understand people from New York flying down here, looking for their loved ones, hoping to hear good news. There's a reunification center that has been set up. Our Jay O'Brien's joining us now with more. He's joining us live from the scene here. And Jay, tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, Jim, you're standing here at the scene. I'm standing here at the scene. And one of the things that we've both been witnessing is family members, loved ones who are coming here in view of this building to try to see exactly what news is about those who were here when the building collapsed. You can see through there. This is the main entry point that rescue crews have been using. We've been seeing them coming in and out. But then you mentioned that family reunification center. That is a few blocks from here. We also met people there who were desperately trying to find family members, loved ones who they haven't heard from since the wee hours of this morning. Dust and debris still cloud the site of the Champlain Towers in Surfside after an unthinkable collapse captured on this surveillance camera. The ruins much clearer in the light of day. Blocks away at a makeshift family reunification center, loved ones desperately hold up pictures of friends and relatives, hoping for any news. This woman is looking for her friends, the Velasquez family. She's been trying to reach them since 4 a.m.
The call just goes straight to voicemail and the text messages don't go through.
Steps away, Yubi Pettigil wipes away tears as she holds up this picture, asking if anyone's seen these children and their parents. Her nephew and his wife, who Yubi says is the sister-in-law of the president of Paraguay, staying in the building on vacation. No one's heard from them since last night.
Oh, you never lose hope. I'm not losing my hope.
Overnight, crews found other children alive, buried in the debris. Now, hours after the collapse, the work is still underway to find the missing, while images like this one are burned into the memories of survivors. A kid's bunk bed teetering on the building's mangled edge. And you heard Jim and Andrew mention it moments ago, but it's worth pointing out, we spoke with the mayor of Surfside, and he has said that there are indications that there are people alive in this rubble behind me, but that the crews that have been searching through the rubbles, as he puts it, are not getting as many hits as they would like. That is something that he believes is concerning, and he would like to see more luck in the rescue and recovery efforts. Guys.
All right, thanks for that, Jay. This area is very diversified, the town of Surfside, small, tight-knit bunch, but there is also a large Jewish community here. In fact, we understand that Israel has offered to send some of its canines to help in the search rescue efforts here, but they've all pulled.
And then just ring the bell, and then
Yeah, well, the Jewish community is obviously shaken by what has happened here on Collins Avenue, but that doesn't stop them from rallying and gathering together. Take a look at this room. Look at what's going on behind me. This is the community's volunteer efforts. This is inside the shul of Bell Harbor, the main synagogue here in Surfside, where people have been dropping off blankets, food, water, all part of a volunteer effort to support their Jewish community. Now, we know when the condominium complex collapsed on Collins Avenue, leaving a wave of destruction in its path, the Orthodox-based ambulance teams rushed to the scene to help triage patients. And since, local rabbis have been putting together volunteer efforts and holding community prayer groups as more and more Jewish families begin to report their loved ones as unaccounted for. Now, the rabbi here at the shul in Bell Harbor, which is just a mile from where the collapse happened, says the phones have been ringing off the hook.
And if you were at the City Hall today, at the center, you would notice a disproportionate amount of people with kippahs, with yarmulkes, a lot of kosher food, disproportionate to the amount of Jews that were there, because it's just the entire Jewish community feels like it's part of our fiber. It happened in our backyard. It feels very close to home.
Well, that rabbi says that while it did hit very close to home, they're willing to help anybody that's been affected by this collapse, Jewish or not Jewish. They also have beds and tents set up here in case anyone feels uncomfortable going to a local hotel to find shelter. They'll also have a prayer ceremony at 8 o'clock tonight. Back to you guys.
Thanks for that, Lena. Well, we talked to a chaplain earlier today with the North Palm Beach Police Department. He was out here just walking around. He said that the one thing that they're going to need more and more of as the next few days roll on is prayers. He said that this town is going to see an emotional roller coaster. We're going to be hearing stories of some people, miracle rescues, and others, well, not so good. So we're going to have much more on this coming up a little later in this newscast. Lily, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. As that search and rescue continues into the night, it's great to see the community coming together. And anytime there is a disaster like this, it's a reminder of how important it is to donate blood when you can. Right now, we are in the middle of the Sinclair Cares Roll Up Your Sleeves campaign. You can sign up to donate blood through a link at the banner at the top of our website, cbs12.com. We'll be right back. And we continue our live team coverage of the building collapse in Surfside with CBS 12 News I-Team Chief Investigator Mike McNolly. He is live in the studio. He's been talking with building and structural experts about what exactly may have happened overnight in this tower collapse and responding to concerns of people who live in similar condos all over the state. Mike.
Hi, Luli. Well, the takeaway from talking to those two professionals is that a building's shell, its concrete, can deteriorate over time when it's so close to the ocean. So if that's the case, if that was a factor here, then there were likely warning signs, and these professionals say this tragedy could become a cautionary tale.
Now, one of the problems that we see with buildings facing east on the ocean, up and down Florida, is the weathering and the condition of the degradation of this concrete, and you get spalling.
Greg Schlesinger is an attorney and a general contractor. He began his career for Frank J. Rooney, a legacy company in Florida construction. They built many high-rise condos. Schlesinger says what happened in Surfside, the partial collapse, may have come on the heels of many clues.
Buildings speak to people.
The CBS 12 News I-Team has put in a public records request with the city of Surfside. We're looking for the most recent inspection reports. Also, Miami-Dade County. Now, those could provide further details, but in the meantime, Schlesinger says some of the pictures are already telling us a lot about what happened.
absent what's reporting, just from reviewing the photographs, it appears to me that we have a failure in the post-tension cables that were utilized for tensioning the steel, and potentially any rebar in the joists and or any welded wire mesh.
In other words, those reinforcements inside load-bearing walls and floors gave out. Schlesinger says even though buildings on the beach are designed to withstand hurricanes, time and erosion slowly take their toll.
While the designs are for stronger wind load and stronger so the windows don't blow out and the roofs don't blow off, they don't necessarily preclude the failure over time from spalling and the steel being eroded away.
A Surfside city commissioner says the 12-story tower was in the process of being recertified, an inspection that recurs every 40 years. But that process can take up to a year. And one expert we spoke to says it can create conflict.
Developers, building owners, they don't like the inconvenience of these certifications. They don't like their processes being impeded and impacts their bottom line.
Lady March Goldwire is a general contractor. She says that Miami-Dade and Broward counties mandated 40-year recertification, but other parts of Florida have been reluctant to make that a requirement.
The requirement is not so here in Palm Beach County, but I think after today's event, that may change.
Now, Luli, lots of longtime Floridians know that after Hurricane Andrew, building standards changed dramatically. That storm was a devastating wake-up call about older structures, and those two experts that you heard from in that story predict that today's tragedy could have a similar effect. And Luli, this just in, while that story was airing, got a response here from the town clerk of Surfside, who's responding to our request for information about the latest reports. It says here that this is to acknowledge receipt of your public records request due to this devastating tragic event. We are diligently working on compiling these records, and we will provide them to you as soon as possible. So a lot of inquiries about that. A lot of folks trying to get their hands on those reports. Back over to you.
And I know you'll stay on top of that, Mike. Thank you. Next at 5:30, the latest on the search for survivors near Miami Beach following that condo collapse overnight. We'll be right back.
This is CBS 12 News at 5:30.
I was in a deep sleep, and all of a sudden I hear a huge crash of thunder that I thought it was.
It's more than 130 units, and about half of those have collapsed.
The problem is the building has literally pancaked. There's just feet in between stories where there were 10 feet. That is heartbreaking.
And we continue to follow that breaking news out of Miami, that deadly apartment building collapse and the search and rescue underway. Let's check back in with CBS 12 News anchor Jim Grimes. He is live at the scene. Jim.
Hi, Lily. Well, for obvious reasons, we've been asked to stay here. The media, we're about 100 yards away, 150 yards away from the building, and you can see it in the distance back there. It is just awesome to see from here. Imagine the power of whatever it is that brought that down, maybe a failure. We're still not sure, but it was enough to bring that concrete crashing down on the northwest side. On the other side, facing the ocean, it looks like it's just been sheared away, like a professional implosion. Hard to believe there were people living inside those units, expecting 60 people or 60 families living in those condominiums at the time with no warning, no alarm. That's what happened. We've been showing you the pictures throughout the day. Our CBS affiliate reporter Tim Scouten is here in Miami today. He has more on the search and rescue on the ground and what's happening with the people who are waiting to hear if their loved ones survived.
An agonizing cry from nurse Wendy Jean-Louis as she tries to find out what happened to the people she cares for in the collapsed tower.
The entire family in the building that I know. One of them I take care of, and then the entire rest of the family is in there. I can see there's no more there.
Nicholas Fernandez has visiting friends staying in the building.
They were one of our
of our units. The unit is no longer there, like it's gone. It's a piece of earth.
He's trying to hold out hope.
I think they're gone. I don't want to be pessimistic, but they are. We've been calling them like non-stop, no reply. Nobody knows anything. We don't have information right now.
There are some heartwarming rescues coming out of this.
I could feel the ground shake. At first it sounded like, maybe like a storm, maybe thunder.
Nicholas Balboa felt the ground rumble beneath him, and he ran a block to the scene. When he got there, he found part of the building in a heap of rubble, and in that pile, he saw a sign of life, a trapped young boy.
I could hear somebody yelling in the debris. What he was actually saying was, can you see my hand? Can you see my hand? And I could see a little hand sticking up, waving and, wiggling his fingers, trying to get our attention.
As he tried to get the attention of rescuers, he began climbing debris to get to the child.
We were there. We were letting him know that we were there. And he said, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. So I told him that we wouldn't leave him.
Rescuers were able to reach him and save the little boy. We're still waiting to find out what happened to his mom. But Nicholas said that child appeared to be okay when he was pulled from the rubble.
He looked fairly all right. Like, he's very lucky. Like, he had a guardian angel for sure.
I talked to the mayor of Surfside a little bit earlier today. He says support has been coming in from all over the world, in fact. Israel offering to bring canines and search crews. Other states offering to bring in resources and manpower. Of course, our own governor here today, he came to offer support to the search and rescue crews and assess the damage.
So it's a tragic day. Some of those folks who were able to go from safety, we thank the fire and rescue for what they did to be able to put themselves on the line to help other folks. They're still hard at work. We still have hope to be able to identify additional survivors.
Coincidentally, the governor was here just 2 weeks ago to sign a bill. It was a happy occasion, but obviously today arriving here with much more somber and serious news. But again, vowing to help this area and the search and rescue crews in any way that he can. Hopefully, we'll have some good news to report a little later. We'll send it back to you, Lily.
All right, Jim Grimes in Miami-Dade County. He's been out there for a few hours now, giving us the latest. Now, anytime there is a disaster like this, it's a reminder of how important it is to donate blood when you can. Right now, we are in the middle of the Sinclair Cares Roll Up Your Sleeves campaign, and you can sign up to donate blood through a link on the banner at the top of our website, cbs12.com. Well, next at 5:30, danger on duty after a Daytona Beach police officer was shot in the head. We speak with Sheriff Rick Bradshaw about the risks law enforcement officers are facing every single day. That is next.
You're watching CBS 12 News at 5:30.
Now, hundreds of officers are searching for a suspect accused of shooting a Daytona Beach police officer in the head. All of Volusia County is on lockdown right now until police are able to track down Othal Wallace. His vehicle is a gray 2016 Honda CR-V with California tags. Now, there is a $100,000 reward for any information leading to his arrest. Well, today, CBS 12 News reporter Al Peffley spoke to some of our local sheriffs about how to reduce violence against law enforcement.
Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw and Martin County Sheriff William Snyder say more laws are not the answer. They tell CBS 12 News the problem is a lack of respect for the law, and that, both men agree, has got to change.
We have generations now of people who don't tend to respect authority.
Martin County Sheriff William Snyder feels profound sadness over the shooting that has left a Daytona Beach police officer fighting for his life. The incident all caught on the officer's body camera as he was responding to reports of a suspicious vehicle.
Can you sit down? I'll talk to you.
Stop. Come on now. Come on now. Don't do this.
Sit down.
Why are you asking me, do I live here?
Do you live here, yes or no?
What's going on, though?
Who? Charlie 777.
Nah, back up.
Stop. Stop. Stop, man.
Sheriff Snyder says we've drifted away from a law-abiding civilization into a more aggressive society. And every day when a police officer or deputy puts on their body armor, badge, and gun, they're preparing for battle.
To do this job safely, you have to keep your head on a swivel, pay attention, Never go into a situation assuming it's going to come out okay, and you just have to stay extremely alert.
He also believes tougher sentences for criminals would help.
I think the more hardcore criminals that are in prison, the safer we all are.
I think that the training is important. I think the heightened awareness is important. We got to bring back, what I call the respect factor for the officers that are out here.
Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw says violent incidents against police are up by 10% and that the streets his deputies are patrolling are getting more dangerous for them.
Our training is such the deputies are reminded, even at roll calls every single day, watch what you're doing, use your training, approach these cars in a professional manner, but protect yourself.
He says deputies and police sometimes approach traffic stops or people in cars too casually because they encounter them so often, but that can be a mistake.
We remind them all the time, don't get complacent. Every traffic stop is important until you realize that there's nobody in there that's going to do you any harm.
Tonight, law enforcement throughout our area and across the state are on the lookout for the suspect in this case. There is no reason to believe that he may have come south into our area, but if you spot someone who matches his description or you spot his car with California plates, you're urged to call 911 immediately. In Stewart, Al Peffley, CBS 12 News.
Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed joining us now, tracking the storm track radar.
Yeah, it looks like we have seen some storms moving across the area. We still have a few thunderstorms to the north of Palm Beach County, but down to the south where we've seen that damage from the collapse of that building down there just north of Miami, it's kind of keeping an eye off to the coast here. We do have some thunderstorms that are trying to make their way in, but they will break up and then reform possibly, but we have to watch that closely to see if any of this activity does make its way in and cause some problems for that rescue effort that's going on down in parts of Miami. A little closer look, we had some showers earlier, and in this area we are continuing to see a few breaks right now. In fact, the sun is out in those regions, so it looks like they're getting a break from the rain, but we hope that it holds off long enough. Now, the problem is tomorrow we will get more showers and thunderstorms across this area. The forecast is showing in the morning some thunderstorms. Now, that means maybe heavy downpours of rain, lightning, and maybe even a few wind gusts that could be cause a problem because you already have the debris that could be teetering or could come down based on wind. And it looks like even in the afternoon, some pop-up showers and thunderstorms all the way in through the evening down there towards Miami-Dade County and around Miami. And also the winds, as far as the high resolution forecast here, we're looking at winds anywhere gusting up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour at times. Now, an individual thunderstorm could increase those winds depending on where that is, but we'll have to watch that as we go through the morning and through the day tomorrow. Back here at home, we're looking at Lake Worth Beach. It looks like we are seeing some clouds across the area, but what we are seeing are some pockets of some showers still remaining, especially up towards portions of Martin County. Indiantown, you've been a little bit busy with these thunderstorms. One storm ends, and then another one follows with an outflow, so you're going to probably get some heavy rain coming up, a few lightning strikes, and it looks like it'll pick up in pace as we go through the next about half hour or so. So we're looking at temperatures on the warmer side of things, up towards Fort Pierce, 88 degrees, 86 in Stewart, 81 West Palm, down towards Wellington, about 86 degrees, and we're looking at Okeechobee, about 81. Tonight, my forecast looks like this. It looks like we'll see those temperatures in the mid-upper 70s. Showers coming to an end, becoming partly cloudy through the overnight, and then as we get into tomorrow morning, looks like a nice kickoff to the weekend as far as sunshine is concerned, starting off. But we will get some showers and thunderstorms popping up in the late afternoon, so keep the umbrellas close by with those temperatures in the mid-upper 80s across our region. As we continue to look around the area, it looks like our temperatures will go on up. We're seeing upper 70s starting off in the low 80s for your morning commute. And that morning walk, you may feel that sunshine out there. But then by the afternoon, some of those showers and thunderstorms pop up across the area. As far as you folks taking out the boat, some of you lucky enough to be off on Friday. Looks like it'll be about 2 to 5 foot chop on the open waters. And then it looks like those showers and thunderstorms are possible with those winds gusting up to about 25 knots at times. So it looks like we will see a few pop-up showers across the area, Palm Beach County up towards Martin County through the afternoon around Lake Okeechobee as you get in lunchtime hour, but then still a few remaining pop-up showers here and there as we go through the day. Closer look at your exclusive 10-day forecast coming up. Lily?
Well, so to come at 6, the top of critical race theory spilling over into the halls of Congress, and now at the center of a new bill that seeks to ban teaching it in D.C. public schools. A look at the details.
FM, proud sponsors of the CBS 12 News Network, the one to turn to.
Look at this. A smartwatch comes to the rescue of Domino's workers in Pittsburgh. A restaurant general manager there says a gunman walked in and ordered him and an employee to empty the cash registers, open the safe, get him to their phones and inside a cooler. Now, he says he locked the cooler from inside and he realized that he could use his smartphone to get help. He texted several people, and within a few minutes, they were able to get to the scene. Officers arresting that suspect there who was wanted in a string of robberies. And the average life expectancy in the U.S. plummeted last year. The National Centers for Health Statistics say that life expectancy at birth in the U.S. fell about 1.9 years between 2018 and 2020. That was 8.5 times the average decrease in comparable countries, which saw just a 2.5-month decrease. Now, the decrease in life expectancy was much larger among Black and Hispanic Americans. And new data suggesting that plastic face shields are not getting the job done when it comes to protecting against COVID-19. Research presented at the European Congress of Clinical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. They tested 32 different types of masks, respirators, and shields to see how they contain tiny aerosol particles. And they found that certified surgical masks offered the best filtration, while face shields provided little to no protection at all. And NASA is still trying to fix a little problem there with the Hubble Space Telescope's computer. Now, the problem in the system popped up on June 13th. Now, so far, the efforts to restart the system have failed. Scientists are still working to pinpoint what is causing this issue. Hubble does have a backup computer that NASA can still use, but it hasn't been powered up in over 10 years. Now, that was launched in 1990. Here's a look at our drone 12 shot of the day. This video is from Jupiter. You're watching CBS 12 News, the one to turn to. Staying on top of that breaking news, a partial collapse of an apartment building near Miami Beach. Right now, we know that 3 people are dead, 102 people have been accounted for and are safe, but 99 are still unaccounted for. 37 people have been pulled from that rubble. Crews have not stopped searching for survivors and will continue through the night. Crews have heard some sounds with the sonar, something that sounds like banging, but no voices. Next at 6, our team coverage continues of that partial collapse. We'll have the latest details from the scene.